Breaking news in the breach of national security by the Trump administration, and the president now saying his defense secretary had nothing to do with it. This is all in the wake of explosive new signal messages released by The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg in a new article today. Now, first, to those newest details reported by Goldberg, he says because of what the president and members of his national security team said after his first story published.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
It wasn't classified information, so this was not classified.
There was no classified material that was shared in that
So then,
signal
if there were no,
chat.
My communications, to be clear, in a signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
And Goldberg writes today that while he initially declined to report the specifics of the military plans he was sent, quote, the statements by Hegseth, Gabbard, Ratcliffe, and Trump, combined with the assertions made by numerous administration officials that we are lying about the context of the signal texts, have led us to believe that people should see the text in order to reach their own conclusions. Now, we thought it'd be useful to hear some of the text conversation that was exchanged via Signal. Using artificial intelligence software, CNN has created an audio version of the group chat. The voices used are reading the text neutrally. No attempt has been made to imitate the actual voices of the officials or alter the text exchange in any way. Even typos are read as they are in the text. Now, present on the Signal chat, in addition to the reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, were National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who admits he accidentally added Goldberg to the chat. Not Vice President J.D. Vance was there. Secretary of State Pete Hegseth with us as well. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Middle East Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
Team. Establishing a principals group for coordination on Houthis, particularly for over the next 72 hours. My deputy Alex Wong is pulling together a Tiger team at deputy/agency chief of staff level, following up from the meeting in the sit room this morning for action items, and we'll be sending that out later this evening. Please provide the best staff POC from your team for us to coordinate with over the next couple days and over the weekend. Thanks.
Mike Needham for State. Andy Baker for VP.
Joe Kent for DNI.
Dan Katz for Treasury.
Dan Caldwell for DOD.
Brian McCormick for NSC.
Team. You should have a statement of conclusions with taskings per the President's guidance this morning in your high-side inboxes. State and DOD. We developed suggested notification lists for regional allies and partners. Joint Staff is sending this AM a more specific sequence of events in the coming days, and we will work with DOD to ensure COS, OVP, and POTUS are briefed.
Team, I am out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we are making a mistake. 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez. 40% of European trade does. There is a real risk that the public doesn't understand this, or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this is, as POTUS said, to send a message. But I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I am willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself. But there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc.
There is nothing time-sensitive driving the timeline. We'll have the exact same options in a month. The Israelis will likely take strikes and therefore ask us for more support to replenish whatever they use against the Houthis. But that's a minor factor. I will send you the unclassed data we pulled on BAM shipping.
From CIA perspective, we are mobilizing assets to support now, but a delay would not negatively impact us, and additional time would be used to identify better starting points for coverage on Houthi leadership.
VP, I understand your concerns and fully support you raising with POTUS. Important considerations, most of which are tough to know how they play out. Economy, Ukraine peace, Gaza, etc. I think messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we would need to stay focused on 1. Biden failed, and 2. Iran funded. Waiting a few weeks or a month does not fundamentally change the calculus. 2 immediate risks on waiting. 1. This leaks, and we look indecisive. 2. Israel takes an action first, or Gaza ceasefire falls apart, and we don't get to start this on our own terms. We can manage both. We are prepared to execute, and if I had final go or no-go vote, I believe we should. This, not about the Houthis. I see it as 2 things. 1. restoring freedom of navigation, a core national interest, and 2, reestablish deterrence, which Biden cratered. But we can easily pause. And if we do, I will do all we can to enforce 100% OPSEC. I welcome other thoughts.
The trade figures we have are 15% of global and 30% of container. It's difficult to break that down to U.S. specific because much of the container, either going through the Red Sea still or around the Cape of Good Hope, are components going to Europe that turns into manufactured goods for transatlantic trade to the United States. Whether we pull the plug or not today, European navies do not have the capability to defend against the types of sophisticated anti-ship, cruise missiles, and drones the Houthis are now using. So whether it's now or several weeks from now, it will have to be the United States that reopens these shipping lanes. Per the President's request, we are working with DoD and state to determine how to compile the cost associated and levy them on the Europeans. As we stated in the first PC, we have a fundamental decision of allowing the sea lanes to remain closed or to reopen them now or later. We are the only ones with the capability, unfortunately. From a messaging standpoint, we absolutely add this to of horribles on why the Europeans must invest in their defense.
At Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it.
VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet, on our side of the ledger, who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now's as good a time as any, given POTUS' directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space.
As I heard it, the president was clear. Green light, but we soon make clear to Egypt and Europe what we expect in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement. E.g., if Europe doesn't remunerate, then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return.
Agree. Team update. Time now. 1144 ET. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. 1215 ET. F-18's launch. First strike package. 1345. Trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Target terrorist is at his known location, so should be on time. Also, strike drones launch. MQ-9s. 1410. More F-18s launch. Second strike package. 1415. Strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. 1536. F-18 second strike starts. Also, first sea-based Tomahawks launched. More to follow per timeline. We are currently clean on OPSEC. Godspeed to our warriors.
I will say a prayer for victory.
VP, building collapsed. Had multiple positive ID. Pete, Kurilla, the IC, amazing job.
What?
Typing too fast. The first target, their top missile guy, we had positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building and it's now collapsed.
Excellent.
A good start.
Good job, Pete, and your team.
The team and MAL did a great job as well.
Great work all. Powerful start.
CENTCOM is on point. Great job all. More strikes ongoing for hours tonight, and will provide full initial report tomorrow, but on time, on target, and good readouts so far.
Kudos to all, most particularly those in theater and CENTCOM. Really great. God bless.
Great work and effects.
Goldberg points out in today's article, quote, if this text had been received by someone hostile to American interests or someone merely indiscreet and with access to social media, the Houthis would have had time to prepare for what was meant to be a surprise attack on their strongholds. The consequences for American pilots could have been catastrophic. This is Defense Secretary Hegseth today.
Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning, out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
They're communicating on Signal, a commercially available app. Keeping him honest, multiple current and former defense officials CNN spoke to said that any discussion of the timing, targets, or weapon systems to be used in an attack would be classified because of the potential risk to U.S. service members' lives if those plans are revealed prematurely, and under no circumstances should such discussions be conducted on a commercial app. But also notice that Secretary Hegseth there is quibbling with the semantics. Goldberg called them attack plans in today's article versus war plans in Monday's report. Seemed to be a talking point of spin shared across the administration. Late today, the president was asked about the latest and defended the Secretary of Defense and used a familiar phrase, witch hunt.
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt.
They've ever been. And remember, this party held slaves. And now they're being told to go into hiding.
If you're a Democrat, I'm going to tell you the worst thing that you could do right now. Speak for that guy party. Okay? That party's brand is in such disarray. They have no ideology. My only problem with the Democratic Party is that even the people that are good, the brand of being a Democrat is so bad.
Yeah, you got to rebrand that.
They shit up. The brand's so toxic that lifelong liberals aren't even staying to fight. They're moving to Ireland. Where'd they come up with that plan? In therapy.
I feel on the verge of crying when I was there, when he got elected. I luckily had a plan with my therapist. Hope she's watching. Hi, Ann. And I said to her, should he be elected, which none of us thought was going to happen, I need a plan. And the plan was always and only Ireland.
The Democrats who are staying don't have a plan. Axios says, talk to 20 Democrats and you'll find each one has a different theory on why they lost. And Rosie's theory is a conspiracy theory.
So I would hope that that would be investigated and that we would see whether or not it was an anomaly or something else that happened on election night in America when Kamala Harris was filling up stadiums with people who supported her. And Donald Trump was not able to do that.
She sounds like Trump. Biden didn't win. Did you see my crowds? It's hard to win if you don't know why you lost. And George Clooney's out there saying, don't look at me.
Looking back on that, happy you did it?
Yeah. I'll make it kind of easy. I was raised to tell the truth. I had seen the president up close for this fundraiser, and I was surprised. And so I feel as if there was a lot of profiles in cowardice in my party through all of that. And I was not proud of that. And I also believed I had to tell the truth.
Clooney just said his party's full of lying cowards. And he calls himself brave for telling the truth. Well, I guess he's brave because you're not allowed to tell the truth in his party. And if you do, they take you out. But the rest of the country didn't need Clooney to tell them Joe was toast. We knew it for years. And we don't need a permission slip from Barack to tell the truth. Suddenly, all these Democrats want credit for telling the truth when the stakes are low. Bernie just came out and said his party's trash.
It saddens me that when the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did virtually nothing for working people. And I have to say that I'm a member of the Democratic caucus as an independent. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
And since then, do I think the Democrats have been effective in rallying the American people in stopping Trump's movement toward oligarchy and authoritarianism? No, I don't.
Burn Dog just told the country, walk away from the Democrat Party and be an independent. But Bernie's just as big of a hypocrite as Clooney. Bernie never said any of this when Democrats were in power. Now he wants Chuck's head on a platter. MoveOn.org says it's time to move on from Schumer. They say their frustrations are at a boiling point, and if nothing changes, donors are ready to yank their funds out. Schumer can smell the coup coming.
Leader Schumer, are you feeling pressure to step down?
Look, I'm not stepping down. And let me just say this, Kristen. I knew when I cast my vote against against the government shutdown, there'd be a lot of controversy, and there was.
Chuck's wounded, the clock's ticking, and the Bernie bros smell blood. The progressives are primarying the old-timers. Watch.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a spine. I'm Kat Abou-Ghazaleh, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District.
That woman right there, Kat, she used to work at Media Matters. She used to clip things we said on Fox and try to get us all fired. Now she's running for Congress. This new generation gets going, it's going to get ugly.
The problem for Democrats right now is if they're primaried by a bunch of Bernie Sanders, AOC-type Democrats, they're going to have a real hard problem flipping the House.
Democrats lost two big bets, that they'd always win the youth vote, and when the country got less white, Republicans would be finished. And they were dead wrong on both. And now their coalition's crippled. Ezra Klein, a big-time liberal thinker, says with the way the party's heading and with the number of Democrats moving out of blue states, Democrats could be out of power for the next 15 years. Everyone's moving to red states. It's boosting Republicans' electoral votes. So the Democrats could sweep the Rust Belt and still not hit 270. They lost the working class, and all their leaders aged out. A new poll asked Democrats who best reflects the core values of their party, and AOC came in first place. Wow. AOC is already taking shots at Schumer, saying we need a party that fights harder. And Fetterman told her to shut up. Fight harder, he says, a stunt that would have harmed millions and plunged us into chaos. We kept our government open. Deal with it. Oof. Fetterman just told a woman to deal with it. Are Democrats allowed to talk to each other like that? Now the media is not even getting along with the Democrats.
Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Would you like to see her join you in the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
No, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff.
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier to understand.
Who storms out of an interview and then comes back and sits down? What was that? You got to commit. They want AOC to run against Schumer and knock him out because at least AOC can get a crowd, even though it's basically the same crowd Bernie's been getting for 10 years. But some Democrats think she's the ticket.
Newsom is obviously setting up for a run for the presidency in 2028. And I'm not so sure that his current strategy is really going to work because what he's doing is he's trying to appeal to the right. But what I see is people like AOC and Bernie Sanders, who are further left than politicians we've seen in the mainstream in modern American history, garnering so much support, breaking records with attendance at rallies. What the left may need right now is possibly somebody further to the left, not further to the right.
So the country's moving right, and Democrats think the way to win is to move left. Everyone fled California, and Democrats are like, I know. Let's run the country like California.
I mean, this looks like game over, and the reason why people are voting with their feet is a lot of what your book is about.
Yeah,
taxes and regulation. I certainly have been screaming about it forever. I did 3 years with a sign here that said, how long is it going to take me to get my solar hooked up? 3 years. Talking about it on television in this state. You couldn't do it.
Democrats can't stop the things they want to stop or build the things they want to build. Do they have any ideas that are different than Donald Trump? Because saying, I don't like what he's doing is not an idea. Listen to what Democrats want to campaign on next year.
Well, we could eliminate all voter registration laws. See, when Democrats get in charge, we try to protect voting rights. We don't make voting easier. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is?
Don't regulate who gets to vote. That's not even an idea. That's just cheating. Politics is basically about getting people on your side. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Patronage, persuasion, inspiration. Kid Rock is doing conversion therapy.
Kid Rock was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I want you to meet Trump. He said, I'm going to take you to the White House. So now we're going to do that.
I think that's
and
a good
there will be
conversation.
lots of people on the left who will be like, how dare you talk to this man? It's like, you know, I'm not playing this game that you mean girls play.
Yes.
Where like, oh, you know what? You can't sit at my lunch table because I'm just not talking to you. Not talking to you, you lost the election. Who the do you think you have to talk to?
Bill Maher, Gavin Newsom, Stephen A., they lost, and they want to talk to the winning team. This is how it happens. Once you start talking to the other side, you stop hating them because you see them as humans. And then you find out you have a lot in common. And the next thing you know, you're sleeping with the enemy. The Democrats have gone so far left that Gavin, Maher, these guys, they're just looking for a new home. It happened with Rogan, Tulsi, and RFK, too. Republicans have this big, beautiful tent. Why don't you stay for a minute? Spend the night.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.
Great. It's a great honor to be with you, and I want to thank everyone and welcome you to the most spectacular place, the White House. It's just an amazing place to live and to work in, and you know, I've seen a lot of good places, but believe me, there's nothing like this. It's just very special, and it's great to have you here to celebrate Women's History Month. That's a big deal, and today we honor the legacy of incredible women like Betsy Ross, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony, Clara Barton, and Amelia Earhart, all legends. And their extraordinary courage and patriotism and devotion propelled our nation to glory and to greatness. They are great women, many great women. And thank you for the vote. You were very nice to me. The women, we set every record. We loved it. We loved that vote. But we're delighted to be joined by some of the pioneering women who are making history in our own time. A woman that's just absolutely incredible. I can't tell you enough about her. She ran my campaign. We kept winning. And then we did well where she won Florida by record numbers. And I said, you know, the second time I said, well, just keep running Florida. And the big one was stolen from us, you know. So I said, we better get her for number 3. And we won in records. We won every swing state. We won by millions of votes, the popular vote. We won everything. We won the districts, 2,750 to 507 or something like that. And we just won so big. And her name is Susie Wiles. And she, where are you, Susie? And she was just named by one of the very prominent media groups. I won't mention it because I cannot stand the people, but she was just named as, and it's true, the most powerful woman in the world. Susie, that is crazy, huh? That's a big, her father was a great, Pat Summerall, a great announcer, really great football player and announcer for the NFL for like 27 years. He really got the NFL. He did pretty well with the NFL. He got him off to a very good start, didn't he? But he was great. But she's got those same traits. So thank you very much, Susie. Great job. Also, we're going to go to somebody that's really the rage right now. She's the youngest ever White House press secretary, Caroline Levitt. Caroline, look at you, huh? They said, sir, she's just too young. And I said, I don't know about that. She did awfully good because she did it during the campaign and she was awfully good. And she's been amazing. She just did another one just a little while ago. She looked at Susie and looked at me. I don't know. I think I'm ready, sir. How old are you? 27, right? 27. And I said, you're not too young. And she's knocking them dead. Everyone's talking about you. Thank you very much. Great job. And we have somebody else who's like a rocket ship, the counselor to the presidency, served me well. I'm going to miss her, but we'll see a lot of her anyway. I hope it's on friendly basis because I've got to be very concerned because she's going to be the new U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. Alina, where's Alina Habba? Alina Habba. Thanks, Alina. She's going to be great. I'll tell you, she's going to be great. She's a great lawyer and lives in New Jersey. And I said, that sounds like a good combination. Everybody wanted that job. They're all looking for the job. I said, wait a minute, doesn't Alina live in New Jersey? Yeah, I think Alina's going to get that job. So congratulations, Alina. It's fantastic. I'm also thrilled to say that we have more women in our cabinet than any Republican president in the history of our country. And joining us today is a woman I've known a long time. You talk about strong women. This is a strong woman. Remember, they were saying, he doesn't like strong women. That may be true, but if that's true, I'm in deep trouble because I'm surrounded. I got the strongest women. And this is a beautiful, strong, wonderful woman. Attorney General Pam Bondi. But yesterday, you know, she was talking about these guys that like burning down cars and plants and everything else. And I was watching her on television. She said, I'm going to get you. We're going to find you. And you're going to suffer. And I say, man, I don't want her after me. And, you know, it's amazing. The attacks have gone down very, very precipitously. It's really, Pam is fantastic. Thank you very much, Pam. Really amazing. Along with a woman who was given a very hard and difficult problem, the cost of eggs. This was the problem. The cost of eggs. Eggs were through the roof. If you got to see the Biden chart, it's like a rocket ship, and Trump is like this way. But I gave Brooke the Secretary of Agriculture, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. She studied that in college. I didn't know that. I was going to give it to her anyway. It didn't matter that she studied, but it sort of helped, right? But she came in and she lowered the cost of eggs by almost 50% in 3 weeks. Right? Someday you're going to tell us that secret. I want to find out. But the chart looks great. It's Biden like this, and then we're like this. But we also, by the way, we lowered energy costs really like tremendously. Energy's way down. Cost of gasoline's way down. The cost of groceries, a word that I used a lot on the campaign. It's like an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word, very descriptive word. And the groceries are coming down, Brooke, at a level that we're finally getting costs under control in our country. And people don't like talking about it because it's so good, it's so positive. I haven't seen one story on eggs plummeting by 50%. But someday they'll get around to writing it. Secretary of Education, she's trying to put herself out of a job. Linda, she's trying to put herself out of a job. She's moving education back to the states, and she's doing it at a rapid rate, and she's an amazing woman. I've known her also for a long time. She's been amazing. No matter where she's been successful, including with her husband building a tremendous empire. And Linda McMahon is very special. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. And it's getting praised, by the way, the concept of moving education back to the states, back to the mothers and the fathers. And you probably do it for less than half, and you're going to have great, great schools. You know, I say that in our country they have charts, and they rate the countries, various countries, and Norway and Denmark and Sweden and lots of places are rated at the top. And Finland, China's rated very high too. Tell me, that takes the big problem out, because if they can do it, that's big, so we can do it. And we're rated toward the bottom. We're at number 37, 38, 39, or 40 out of 40. So we're just about last. And yet we're first in one very nice category, cost per pupil. So obviously there's something wrong. We just have to repeat that, Linda, and everybody says, well, I guess it's time to do it. And it's been that way for a long time. And originally we had it run by home state, so we never had that kind of a problem. But it's going to be, Katie, it's going to be brought back again, and Linda's going to do it. And I just say, you know, she said, you basically want me to get out of government, don't you? I said, that's right. Do your job and get out. But I promise I'll have something else for you, okay? I promise I'll have something even better for you, all right? But you're doing a job, and we appreciate it. Also, a special man. He's got a tremendous majority. It's so easy, a majority of about one. I think he's the only man could do the job because everybody loves him. Everybody respects him. He's really smart. Really, he's so nice. People say, is he smart? I said, you have no idea. He's actually, you know, he's really nice because he's smart. He knows it's the only way you can live with it. Where is Mike? Mike, it's the only way you can do it. He's the nicest guy. But in actuality, he's not a nice person. He's ruthless. You haven't seen this guy when he gets angry. I don't want it. I'll ruin your image overnight. He is a phenomenal guy. Our great speaker, Mike Johnson. Thank you very much. I don't know. Is that good or bad for you? I'm not so sure. It's okay. He said whatever the heck you want to say is okay. First female Republican Attorney General of Iowa and an early supporter of Trump.